right now checking the stream. Make sure it's getting connected. Hoping everybody can hear me. It looks like everybody should be able to hear me. Yeah, nope, that's looking pretty good. Okay. Excellent. All right, folks. Well, welcome. Um, this is, oh, it still says offline over here. Let me just check, folks, because I want to make sure that I'm actually live. Oh, nope, yep, I'm live. Okay. If you guys can hear me, let me know. I know a couple of the guys from the games are going to be showing up tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking about both games because I didn't get a chance on Sunday. I didn't get a chance to stream. I had wanted to, but we went so late Sunday. A big major event happened at our vampire game on Sunday. So we had gone so late that that I just couldn't. I was tired. Kind of like what I'm feeling now. I keep checking this to make sure I'm live. Sorry, folks, because I've had issues in the past, and it looks like I'm buffering like crazy on my computer. Hope everybody else is having a better time. So I'm just making sure. Because for those of you that do stream, my dashboard is saying that I'm offline. So it's kind of confusing. Oh, there we go. Now it's showing that I'm online. That was a major delay. All right, so I'm sorry that the beginning of these things tend to be a little crazy with me trying to figure it out and make it right and all that kind of stuff. What you're looking at on your screen, by the way, I know usually I have the Thoughts from a TV Geek screen up, which if you go to my Twitter, plus thoughtsfromatvgeek.com, it's kind of that background. But for tonight, since we're talking about both games, I changed it. This is my my table where we game, and this is how it looks from my perspective. There's nothing on there that if any of the players can read it, it's not a huge deal. They've met most of the vampires on that list. Not all of them, but most of them. But this is what I look at. My screen, that's an actual Vampire the Requiem screen. However, I have it covered because I have so many notes. As you can see, I'm big on the index cards, and that just takes over. It really does. There's more index cards, like, as you can see, hanging out on the bottom there. And I they're sorted out. I need them. I use them. It works for me. I think every DM really, honestly, has their own way of doing things. And that's just, my way of doing things, is having everything laid out in the index card. Plus, I do have my computer up and open always, so that I can pull my notes up, because I do my notes on what's it called, on Google Drive, Google Docs. I use all the time. So somebody messaged me privately, and I want to see. Oh, okay. Not in the chat room. So yeah, so I keep all my notes. I have literally a doc that says notes, and it's all the layout. It's the stuff that the characters don't know yet, things that are coming up, all the stuff that I need to know, and I always have that open so that I can refer back to it. And then I have can't hear you yet, a bit louder. Oh, let's see. This mic does go louder, so there's a little louder on the mic. My mixer is saying that it's pretty good. So let me know if this is okay. I can also get closer to it. I'm trying this mic. It's my new mic because I didn't like the way the mic on this headset was working. No, it's on the other side. It's this side. So I got this new mic, which let me see if I can show you right there. Not the most expensive streaming mic, but it hopefully works much better. Okay, I need to apparently have this turned all the way up on the mic itself in order for it to work properly. Good, good. Okay, so let's pretend we're starting now. Ha. So anyway, yeah, I use Google Docs, and then I have each week, I have a separate doc for each week with the layout of, quick note of what happened last week, just so I have it right there for me to see, and then what needs to happen, and then break it down per character, what has to happen for their characters. And, usually we get to most of it. Sometimes you don't, doesn't matter. I go with the flow of whatever's happens, that's how it goes. But usually we get stuff, other than there was a vampire they were supposed to meet last week, and I totally forgot until it came time for how many vampires were missing, and he was one of them, and it was like the characters didn't care because I didn't meet him. Yeah, that happens. So, but that's kind of how I work, and of course I have all the notes in front of me. The cards that are hanging and very visible, they're paper clipped, are the players themselves, the player characters, PCs, and their sires, so that I have that all laid out and know what I'm talking about. And then that big sheet that you can see in the middle, that is a list of the vampires so far in the city of Newcastle. There are probably 10 more than what's listed. I just haven't created them yet. But that's roughly the number of vampires that are in my city of Newcastle. It's Newcastle, Maine. It's a made-up city. And we're doing an Invictus game. All the characters are in the Invictus, and there are approximately 25, including the PCs, that are Invictus. Might be a few more, but approximately 25. So there's a lot of vampires in this city, probably more than they say there should be, because I know with vampire they say that there shouldn't be overrun with vampires, but when you're talking about a city roughly the size of Boston, 50 vampires is actually not a lot, I don't think. You could never run into each other, really, technically. So anyway, so let's get on to last week. Big event. They went to the Invictus house, and there was a big event. It was their celebration that they have every winter, when they're celebrating when the Invictus settled in Newcastle and made it theirs, essentially. There are other covenants there in the city, but it's essentially an Invictus city. So it's a big celebration, heavily fortified, heavily guarded, as they all saw and became kind of paranoid. At least a couple of them became pretty paranoid because of all the guards around. That literally, for those of you in the game, I know a couple of you guys are listening, that was the only reason for the extra guards, was because all of the Invictus were going to be there. It's very secret, so that it's not like you're passing around the word that, hey, we have a meeting, we're all gathering together. They don't do it the same date every year for that reason, but they do it in the winter. So they had this big shindig, and all their sires were there, of course, and all the Invictus. They were presented to the two main, basically the vampires, the two vampires that are still around that helped settle it initially, came to the city first, and that is the Prince of Newcastle, and Pearl Chastain, who is her title is Her Grace Duchess Pearl Chastain. They were all introduced to her, to them. Not that they didn't, they knew Pearl. They had met the prince once. One of the funny aspects of that was character Church, who's a nerd hacker, and not good in social situations. So him having to do this was pretty funny. Um, but so and they had some talking and socializing. Franklin Longhorn was paranoid the entire time. Turned out kind of rightfully so, but not for what he was expecting, and not what anybody else, I believe, expected to happen. Um, and that was, yes, the party was crashed, and it was a guy with a bomb under his jacket, and it happened so fast that even those with celerity, which for those of you that play vampire, don't play vampire, it means you can move super fast, still wasn't enough to quite get to him. In fact, it was enough. The one PC that tried it, his character's name is Sam, it was enough for him to be heavily in the blast zone, that not to actually reach him, because everything happened in less than 60 seconds. And that's even just spotting that something's wrong. So it was pretty severe. Not as severe as it could have been as far as the bomb. It didn't destroy the house, but it did destroy the foyer, collapse the stairs, that kind of thing. And the big deal is that Pearl Chastain was in the blast zone, like right there. She was talking to the gentleman when he triggered the blast. So that was the huge deal. That Pearl, is she alive? Is she dead? And then who else was injured and hurt, and this and that, and them, getting hurt, and who's got aggravated damage, and this and that. But I have to say, and I want to say this, especially because of the guys that are listening, they all did phenomenal, with their role play and stuff. It was really, really good, really awesome. We had a guest on the phone who was playing one of the NPCs, named Melanie, really good friend of mine, Kim, and she's been helping me. She's a writer, she's an author, and so when I have this story that I really like, and I have this story that I really like, and I want to connect them somehow. She always helps me connect the dots, and she's come up with some pretty cool story points. I would love to put the bombing and Pearl's subsequent possible death on her, but it was actually on me. I'm the one that came up with it. This so shortly after they had to kill, the week before, when they had to kill the two ghouls and the human. Yes, she loves you too there, Nate. Love Kim. So that was different. We weren't sure if that was going to work. In fact, I was prepared to have to play Melanie, because we really weren't sure how that was going to work on speakerphone. She didn't want to be on Skype. She's done some little telephone appearances before, very brief. This was the longest that she was there for. And Melanie is an NPC that has a bigger storyline. This is kind of why we decided to do it this way, and because it helps me. I have so many NPCs that I'm playing, as you can imagine. We have 6 players, and each player picked a different clan for their character. So I have 6 different sires, and I decided not to have any of them be killed off or not be around. So it's just daunting sometimes. So having her be able to play an NPC for a few weeks is wonderful. Actually, probably be stretch a little more than a few weeks, but it's not going to be. This was big. She was there for like 3 hours, and she won't be. I happen to know that this coming week it'll be a scene, and that's about it. So but again, it helped me out, and it was very cool. She did have a hard time with the speakerphone when it wasn't her and the person that she was talking to in character one on one. That was fine, but once it went to somebody else and she was just trying to listen, she really couldn't understand much. So I had to fill her in on everything that happened. But but it was cool. It was a good night. There's been a lot of depth with everybody's character, you know, and I think that's really awesome. I made a player cry in character, which was cool. Franklin Longhorn is losing it completely, and that's kind of cool. Sure, Nate, you're having fun playing that. Um, by the way, Nate is the Last Rook, and you can check out his Twitch channel. Um, and I would plug Ryan's, but I can't remember the name of it. So Nate, if you can type it, that'd be cool. It'll be in the chat room for people to see. Um, but uh, so anyway, so yeah, they did really good, and I just it's getting better and better, and it's helping me because it helps me create stories, you know, and move things along, you know, and they each have things they want to do with their characters and stuff that they want to happen, and there's stuff coming that I'm gonna get killed for, you know, that kind of thing. It's great. It's fun. I'm trying to think. Uh, this coming week, I know we have two players that can't make it this week, and oh, you're welcome, Nate, and thank you for, yeah, Dungeon Crawler and Friends is Ryan's, and he plays Churchill Bell. He's the nerd, the hacker of the group, and doesn't do well in social settings, and he got a major thing thrown on him Sunday. You know, when you find out that your sire is actually your biological father, that's a big deal. So he got that thrown in on him, which I thought was funny. I thought was funny. He couldn't get it. He didn't understand. It was so funny. I really believe it took 10 minutes just to get through, and like, oh, you mean like, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I mean. So that was pretty funny. Um, so yeah, I'm loving that game, and I'm hoping, yeah, full Star Wars twist. Yeah, Luke, I am your father. Um, I'm hoping to get the guys here. I keep saying this every week. I know you guys are just gonna like, yeah, Kelly, right? Yeah, sure. But I really am trying to get the guys to be on Skype so we can actually all have a conversation one of these weeks, because I think that would be really cool. We almost did it tonight. In fact, um, one of the guys, he plays in the vampire game. He plays Lupo, and he was going to be on, but then I told him that I was going to be starting sooner than he was going to be getting home. So he just said he'd come into chat when he gets home. So hopefully Benny will be here soon. Um, Tonight we had D&D, and it's kind of cool because it's the same group in D&D plus two. So there's two extra people that are not in our vampire game, but they play D&D. Um, Lupo and the Lupo. Oh yeah. You just reminded me. Speaking of Lupo, yeah, Lupo has got a major twist in the storyline, and it's pretty funny because of our group, Benny and I, Benny plays Lupo. Benny and I are the only two that watch Critical Role, and absolutely loving it. You know, and we talk about it all the time, and this and that. In fact, uh, I got a like. One of my tweets was liked by Matthew Mercer, who was the DM from Critical Role, and I literally, thank God, Nate, you were on somebody else, because I was like in the initiative order in the D&D game tonight. I was like number 6, so you were like on number 3. So I got up and I ran over to Benny's table. He was playing at a different table tonight, and I showed him the thing, and he was like, "Oh my God!" So it was pretty cool. But anyway, that was a little fan moment. Um, But anyway, so we're the only two that watch Critical Role. Well, in Critical Role, the bard, whose name is Scanlan, he's a womanizer, and he's a gnome, so and he's fairly old. They never say his age outright, but he always jokes that he's a lot older than the others. So he met his daughter that he didn't know he had, but it was a grown daughter. Um, and who knew who he was, knew that he was her father, and hated him and was trying to kill him. So anyway, so then we get to this story, and we had the whole story of Lupo needed an ex-girlfriend that comes back into his life. It had to happen, just the way his character is. He's kind of a Scanlan. Um, so in talking about it, Kim was actually the one. We were putting it together, and we had it done, and then Kim goes, "There's a daughter." And I'm like, "Ooh, we got to do this." And I knew the first thing that Benny was going to think is, "You copied from Critical Role when it wasn't my idea, really." Plus, the daughter's a lot younger. It's not a grown daughter, and that threw him for a loop. But he did some great role playing there. He did. Um, I'm hoping that we can start recording. I don't know about live streaming us, just too complicated, but maybe recording some sessions, and I'll be able to edit them down and put them up on YouTube or something. Um, don't have the right equipment, I don't think, really, for me to live stream our game, and I don't know if everybody wants to be perfectly honest. That's something you really have to be comfortable with, and the game is going so good that I don't want to detract from the fun that we're having and the things that we're able to do, by suddenly live streaming and people becoming self-conscious. I know that the actors who are on Critical Role had said the same thing about their game. They had played for 2 years, and before they started live streaming on Geek and Sundry, so they had the same kind of doubts, fears, whatever the case may be. It's turned out great for them. They're on like episode 60, but yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it and see, even if it's give you a little piece, of what we're doing. D&D. All right, are we ready to switch to D&D? Threw him up for a Lupo. Ha 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 ha. That was cute. That was cute. I'll give you that. That was cute. Um. So D&D tonight. What was hysterical, I thought, about D&D tonight is we did one thing all night. We started late, so I mean, we started over an hour late than we usually start. So that cut our time way, 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 way down. And it was a literal continuation of last week, in that we were in front of a door last week. We heard shuffling and we stopped the game. So we were literally continuing that. And my character found out that there were some people inside and they were having a conversation, got to overhear, blah, blah, blah. So we did some stuff in the hallway, and discussing. I got to be missed. For those of you out there that do watch Critical Role, you'll know that Keyleth does that to the party, and the first time she ever did it to the party, it totally messed them up because nobody realized you couldn't do anything when you were in mist form. So they were in the middle of a fight. She thought she was saving them, and it totally messed it up. But anyway, so I got to be missed tonight, to get into the room and listen, which was kind of cool. That was cool. I liked it, and Sylvia was nice to me, so that was odd. But I'm nice to her usually, so there you go. Our characters, yeah, it's funny. Ryan actually plays Sylvia, the warlock, and she's usually not so nice. But yeah, then we wind up with, oh no, there's not just 5 guys in here. No, 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 they're vampires. Yay! Just what we needed, more vampires, right? So I go from talking about Vampire the Requiem to D&D, and there's more vampires. That's because we are playing Curse of Strahd, so there's going to be vampires. My character did not want to go in, was like, listen, they're in there chatting, leave them alone, let's go, they don't know we're here. Everybody else wanted to go fight the vampires, but my vampire ran into while she was on her own because, stupidly, I left the party, to go run after this shadow thing and didn't tell anybody where I was going. This was a couple weeks ago. And ran into a couple of vampires who just, they didn't kill me, but they, wanted to basically mess with me and scare me to death. And they did. So my reaction tonight was, no, I'm not going in there. So I was the last one in. I was sixth in the initiative order, but I was just like, I'm going to be last. I don't want to do this. Yeah, vampires are totally in right now. No kidding. Um, so we go in. I mean, everybody wanted to fight him, and I knew as a player, I knew we had to go in and fight these vampires. I got that, but I wasn't playing that at all. I was playing my character, whose name is Alyssa, and there was no way, wasn't happening. Um, but we did have for those of you that play Curse of Strahd, we already have the Sun Sword, our barbarian. I wanted to call him a dwarf. Is he a dwarf? Oh, I'm so confused. Anyway, Mordoon has the Sun Sword, so everybody felt kind of confident going in there, except for me. So, and there are two, four, five, six, seven of us. So 7 players, 7 characters, species, against 5 vampires. You know, I don't have anything. That was the other thing, was I have nothing to kill a vampire except 1 flask of holy water, which gets 1 use. I mean, when it's gone, it's gone. So I'm like, I keep hanging on to it because I have this feeling I'll need it later. He is a dwarf. Okay, yes. Rogue Barian. He multi-class. That's right. Barbarian, and then he took first level rogue. Um, but anyway, he has the Sun Sword. I had nothing. My daggers weren't gonna do crap. I have a short sword, but it's not silver. It's a regular short sword. I have a crossbow. Wasn't gonna do anything. Luckily, I wanted to say cleric, but he's not a cleric. He's a fighter, I think, isn't he? Anyway, pretty soon Nate will put up what Noah's character is. Anyway, he had a silver longsword, and because he also had a silver spear, he didn't need both. So he gave me the longsword because I could use a longsword. So that's what I had, and I wound up killing a vampire. So next time, as long as the group's all together, Alyssa might not be quite as scared. I won't say she won't be scared, but maybe not quite as much. We'll see how that goes, because more vampires are coming, and that Strahd will be coming. I don't know when though. I'm co-DMing. This is funny. I'm co-DMing, and Nate though has been running it for a really long time, actually, come to think of it, because we've been playing the vampire game. I think we're on the 6th week or something like that, maybe more. I've actually lost track. I'd have to go look it up, which I'm not going to do right now. And I hadn't DM'd the D&D game for a couple of weeks before starting the vampire game. So I did like 3 or 4 weeks in the very, very beginning. Nate started it out for a couple of weeks, and then I did a few weeks. I know I did at least 3. I might have done 4 because we had to finish the story I was working on, but I don't quite remember. Again, something I would have to look up. And then I didn't do it for a while, and then I think I gave Nate a couple of weeks off, and he's been doing it ever since. And we started this in April, I think, when Curse of Strahd came out. He's been doing it a lot. Well, because he's been DMing all this time, and I've been working on my Vampire the Requiem game, I haven't even looked at the book. I have no idea how much more there is left to go, other than, of course, face Strahd, which we're not ready for. We're all around 6th, 7th level. I know my character's 6th, but I think she's 1 behind. I think most everybody else is 7. And you got to get to 9 before you even attempt Strahd. So So yeah, I, I I give Nate like all the credit for this game, this D&D game, because I haven't done as much as I should have been with being called a co-DM. Um, so I'm due. I think I don't know, Nate. Next week, I don't know. Um, I know we haven't finished the house we're in, so I'm not sure exactly where. Again, I haven't read it. I wanted to be able to play, so I wouldn't read, different parts. I would only read the parts that I was DMing. So yeah, so there's so much I don't know. Oh, okay, here we go. Barbarian, Mighty Khandra, powerhouse of the team. Yes, 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 that's right. We have two barbarians. I forget about that all the time. I don't know why I always think of Noah as a fighter and not a barbarian. I don't know why. We have two barbarians, a cleric, a warlock, two druids, and I'm a rogue. And one of the barbarians has as I said, he has a first level rogue. He multi-classed. So that's our party. That's what we got. But it's kind of it's cool. Um, I personally don't think that a party needs two druids, but it's okay. Oh, he used to be a fighter. All right, thanks, Nate. You can do the Amber Temple. Okay, sure. I have no clue about the Amber Temple, but I can read about it. That's cool. Just let me know which week I have to do that. um, yeah, that's probably why I keep thinking of Noah as a fighter, because he used to be a fighter. That makes absolute perfect sense. I am doing so much better this week at following chat because I've, kind of figured out that I can have the windows next to each other so that I can see everything. So yeah, all right, I'm an idiot. um, but anyway, so tonight that's all we did was fight 6 vampires, and we started to move on. Oh, and talk to cats. Yeah, we fought 6 vampires and attempted to talk to cats. That was fun. I could take over middle of next week. Okay, then I will start reading the Amber Temple. Cool. I can do that. Um, so yeah, talking to cats went on probably far too long. Yeah. Yes, you. Um, yeah, it was funny, Bill, because there were cats in the room, and every time there's an animal, Sylvia, played by Ryan, um, wants to talk to them because she can, which makes sense to me. If you can, hell, do it. Fine. But the talking to cats, man, tonight, it was just like, I don't know what happened. I got out of control. It really did. It was funny. It was hilarious, actually, at certain parts. But it was just like we spent the whole rest of the time, like a half hour, talking to cats. It wasn't really actually talking to cats. That's how long it took, like, to even get some semblance of what was going on in the scene, because everybody was having a good time and joking and all that stuff, which happens. Um, but but it was a good night. It was a good night. I had fun. I had fun. Brought my dad, and he had fun. My dad, for those of you that don't know, which is like everybody else who's not in the game, um, he has Alzheimer's, and I take care of him. I have been for 5 years now. Um, but he loves it. We got home, and he was like, "Man, that was a great night. I love when we get to do that." So I should take him more often, I guess. I don't always. I don't always. He comes when I don't have anybody to stay with him, because to me it's a long night to just sit there, but he actually enjoys it. And I think part of it now that's changed is the fact that for vampire, everybody comes to our house, so he sees them every week, every Sunday. So I think he's gotten to know everybody's, a little bit anyway. I know he doesn't remember everybody, but and won't remember names, but I think sometimes on site he realizes, I think I know them. I don't know why, but I think I know them. But so yeah, so it was a good night. It was a good night. This Sunday, we're gonna have 2 missing players. Nate is one of them, and Mo is the other, who is our hitman. Um, in the Requiem game. And but still, I've got four other players that everybody's got their own storyline going, especially after the bombing. They've gone home, so I can kind of take it from there. So I mean, if there has to be a week where you lose two players, this is the week to do it. Makes it easier. I know, Nate. You'll be missed. Longhorn will be missed because I can't do a good imitation of him, so I'm not even going to try. You'll have to wait until Nate is here live and you'll hear his voice. And I'm sure he will do Longhorn for you. Um, so, yeah. That's our games this week, guys. And I'm trying to think of other stuff that is going on coming up. I can't talk much about what's like coming up in the vampire game at all because obviously the guys are here listening. So that would just ruin all that. Um, Only Longhorn. Oh, Mo the Muncher. Oh gosh. Is Mo here? Is Mo listening? Mo, if you're here, join chat. Um, yeah, had a situation where his character oh man, his not just his sire, but the effective head of the Invictus really um, put a test out to the group, and it was they had caught these guys that had done some stuff, and it was all against the Invictus or against the laws of the prince of the city, whatever, and they had to, like I think I said earlier in the stream, they had to kill two ghouls and one human. Three of them were assigned the kills, the individual kills, and then three of them were assigned the cleanup. So they each had something to do. And Mo's character is a hitman, and giving him the kill was like, yeah, no, not going to happen. It's too easy for him. He got the cleanup, which still, again, too easy for him, but there was nothing that would be like a super challenge for him. The actual challenge for Mo, and I can say that now, even though some of the guys are listening, the actual challenge for Mo was the following the orders, to just do it. Um, it wasn't too much of a challenge, but at least they could say it was a challenge. Um, and his character is comes from a very bizarre family and bizarre childhood. Sadistic parents who I believe are cannibals, and or at least partially cannibals in their ceremonies. Um, Not in like eating every day. So they when they had to do the cleanup, most had to clean up, one of the ghouls, the dead body. Now the other two did it kind of the normal way. You've got your big tarp that they were killed on anyway, because the other three were smart and did it that way. So you roll them up and you take them, and they all got to chat on where they were going to take them. Their sires allowed that, so they decided to break into the funeral home, incinerator, cremation, and all that. Great, awesome, wonderful. And then Mo's character decides he wants to. First, it was just he broke open the chest, which I allowed, of course. Break it open. Great. What are you gonna do? Rip them apart? Okay. Then he wants to eat the heart, and I thought, all right, well, you're gonna have to roll for it because vampires don't eat. But I let him do it, and he wanted to keep going. He wanted to keep eating, and I thought, oh no. I was literally thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to allow this? Because, like I say, vampires, they don't eat. You have to have the special skill. It's a merit to be able to eat, and then eating human flesh. I mean, I guess it is a particular taste. I don't know. So anyway, he had to keep rolling, to make sure that he could do this. And I only let him go so far because I told him there's no way you could handle. He wasn't down enough in Vitae, first of all, for the blood, let alone his stomach handling, an entire body. But yeah, that was pretty gross. Pretty gross. Let's see. Also talk about Kayla's character. Kayla's character is pretty awesome, Sky. And Sunday, man, with Pearl getting blown to smithereens or not. Nobody knows. But it looked like it. Her character, Pearl is her sire. Um, Not just her sire. There's a real like relationship going on there that started, um, and it's a kinky relationship, but it is what it is. And so after the killing, there'd been like fallout as far as emotional fallout for Sky because she was one of the ones made to kill, and not just kill one of the ghouls. She was made to kill the human being. There was one human, and you know, afterwards, her main questions over and over were why me, why her. The human was a woman, and all that Pearl could tell her was, because that was the hardest for you, and she knew it. Um, and that's the honest truth, is it was the hardest one. So there was a lot of emotional role play after the fact of the killing. I made sure we did some private messenger role playing, and I made sure that Sky was in a good place. Not 100%. Not 100%. She got to see Pearl's real cruel side, doesn't like it, but she could continue on. Her sire is her sire, you know. Um, I made sure they were in a good place because I knew what was coming. I knew what was going to happen, and I did not want them in a bad place and then Pearl's possibly dead. So, and and her role playing was really amazing. Uh, and she doesn't get a lot of chances to do that. So, so it was really cool. Um, and yeah, she started crying at one point. Literally, she was crying when she was being told that, everybody, uh, the ghouls were searching and everybody was bunkered down. She didn't want to go down, and then even when she was down, she wanted to go back upstairs and continue searching, and she literally started crying. Um, and quite literally, when you're role playing, even if the characters are touching, usually you're not touching each other. You're just saying what you're doing. She literally gave me a hug. And it wasn't me, it was the NPC I was playing. She just, because she lost it. And so that it was one of those things where I felt so bad, I felt so awful on one hand, but on the other hand, it was like, oh, that was amazing, that was fantastic, I'm so glad that happened. So yeah, so I got told tonight, by the way, I don't think you know this, Nate. Yeah, I got told tonight that Pearl better be alive because she can't handle it if she's not. Okay, so I might be dead in a couple of weeks, but we'll see what happens. Because I wouldn't, obviously I was not going to confirm nor deny what's on with Pearl. Basically, her character found a ring and a piece of her dress, and that was it. Um, so they haven't found. They found body parts of the other two that were in the blast. The guy that blew himself up, and there was a ghoul that jumped in front of Pearl the last second and tried to get the switch from the trigger from the guy. They found bits and pieces of them, so that's why they're not sure exactly what happened to Pearl. Um, but yeah, yeah. Uh, Everybody's got interesting characters. Some of them it was a little difficult to get. Oops, sorry, I hit the mic. It was a little difficult to get more into like going, but I think everybody's really in the flow now, and the story's moving along nicely. Game time in the game, it's been a month for the characters, so they haven't been vampires very long, and a lot's happened. And that's obviously going to continue. I have no plans to jump it like some games, I guess they jump very far ahead. Like they'll start back in the 80s and then they'll do a whole big thing back then, and then they'll jump ahead to like 2005, and they keep doing it that way. I have no plans to do that. And the most I jump, like I just jumped 2 weeks to get from the killing to the party. Um, and I don't plan on doing more than that. Trevor and his dead wife. Yes, that was the first thing. That was the first thing that when Kim and I were talking about. Uh, Quite literally, we were talking about how can we mess with the characters and players, more so players, I think. And when I had the whole story of, because we already knew the background of Trevor and his dead wife, um, that was already in his background, and I wanted to do something with it. Um, so I decided to have her come back as a spirit, because World of Darkness has spirits and stuff. Now, I'm not well read at all when it comes to the other stuff in World of Darkness. I'm not even 100% well read in Vampire the Requiem. So, for me to go off and read all those other books and stuff like that, it's way too much right now. So, took a lot of leeway in what we're doing, but I did read the supernatural and stuff like that, just to not go too far off the rails as far as what World of Darkness says. Um, but anyway, so one night he's was he in his car or was he home? Gosh, I don't even remember where he was, but he was alone. And um, they didn't know it, but Kim was on the phone, and she wasn't. I mean, she wasn't on the phone long enough to be listening to anything, because I had just called her, and I handed him the phone, and she started basically talking as his dead wife, and she needs his help, and he was like, what? He was like so confused. It was really hysterical. Um, and that was her first time playing um, a character. So now that she's Melanie, and it was a phone call in the car. Okay, yeah. So now that she's also playing Melanie, Stefan, who plays Trevor, is playing it off as jealousy. It's like, no, 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 no. She plays my wife, you know. Um, but uh, yeah. So she's able to communicate with him, obviously, through electronic devices. The second time, a lot of the players were going to be late. One person was driving that evening, like four of well, including him, it was four players. So I had Trevor and Franklin Longhorn and um, uh, so I had already planned. Kim had sent. That's my baby mama. Hi, hey Benny. Um, I had already had Kim, a couple days prior. Actually, we had talked about this voicemail that Trevor was going to get. So she had already recorded it. Sent me a voicemail, literally, and then I played it through the speakers because we decided that I said I don't want it to always be the phone. If she can go through electronic devices, it doesn't have to be a phone. So I knew that I could get him at some point in his place alone or in his car alone, one or the other, where he would have the radio. And so at home he had the stereo playing in the background, which of course I threw in there because I needed to throw in there because suddenly the music starts fading and I hit play on the voicemail and it came through the speakers, my speakers, and it was scary. I thought she sounded kind of scary. It was great. It was what I wanted. And I'll tell you guys now, it wasn't initially what she was going to do. She was going to be totally the opposite. And I was like, no, this has got to be serious. This has got to be scary, like life and death scary, even though she's already dead. Um, but yeah, so she did that twice. And then, of course, this past week she was Melanie. Benny's baby mama, as he just said in the chat room, um, Lupo's baby mama. Um, and it's nice help. She's been great. She's been great with helping to connect dots in the stories, um, and then having her be able to do this just adds another element. Like Melanie, it's not going to take away from the six players that are here. She's not a player. She's not a um, but she'll be popping up here and there as Lupo and Melanie's storyline continues, to see what conclusion comes of that. So I'm liking it. It's one of those things where I love that everybody has their own storyline, and we got things throwing in where they're together, giving them a chance, their characters, to get to know each other and hopefully get a little closer. Because in the world of the Invictus, in my world of the Invictus in Newcastle, because basically they're the next group, like kind of the next generation. Um, um, and for those of you that play Vampire the Masquerade, it's totally different generation. Yeah, because I know Vampire the Masquerade doesn't have like blood potency or whatnot. It's what generation are you? Um, but no, I'm just mean in general. It's the new vampires uh, that are Invictus, and they were all turned within a night of each other, and that they would have been turned all the same night. Two players couldn't make it the first night, so I had to separate it. Otherwise, they all would have been turned the same night. Um, and so they're the courtier, I think it's called, which means they are in the eyes of the elders in the Invictus. They are one group. Um, the players actually, the characters, well, actually, the players neither really. The characters, I don't think, realize that 100%. They were told that in the beginning, and they have been forced, obviously, to do something together. Um, but I don't know, even if player knowledge, I don't know that you guys knew that's literally what it is. I don't mind player knowledge with stuff like that because you guys are great at playing your character, but yeah, that's literally what it is. In the eyes of the elders, you six are a group. Um, and uh, but anyway, so lost my train of thought, but um, yeah, it's been cool. What do you guys like? You gotta be quick here in chat. Come on, guys. What's your favorite part of the Vampire Requiem game? And of course, I'll wind up sitting here having to filler talk because there's a delay to begin with. I did turn off the delay, but I still think there's a delay. A short one. I think it's a lot shorter. Or they're in the bathroom, right? So I'm not going to get any response because they're actually not right here in front of the computer. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Um, I know everybody's having fun drinking with Longhorn. Yep, don't forget that Kentucky bourbon. Come on. Um, that's turned into an interesting thing there. The whole Longhorn, his being turned into a vampire. The big deal that he made was, he couldn't drink his Kentucky bourbon anymore. He used to have that every night. And that was like a huge deal, which of course has very little to do with the bourbon. It's everything else that he's lost on top of that. And you just play it so well, Nate. Those scenes have been really good, and especially like almost getting blown up yourself, and you've got shrapnel all in your chest, and you're pulling it out, and all you care about is the the bourbon glass that you had, or bottle. Yeah, the slow decline of mental stability. Yep, you're playing it. That's for sure. It's probably going to get worse. Let's see. Benny, think I enjoy the challenge of putting myself into the modern setting instead of strict fantasy area. So it's cool to branch out of. Oh, cool. Yeah, that is a big difference. I could have gone where it would have been a bit more of fantasy, not like D&D fantasy, but they do have vampire, the Dark Ages. So it wouldn't be today. It would be obviously back in the Dark Ages. It it was a bit far removed from what I remember because I played Vampire the Masquerade for years. Vampire the Requiem is different, but not like so big different. Um, um, so I don't know. I would have had to like totally relearn. I think anyway from what I was looking at, and I decided, you know what? We already play D&D. We have the fantasy aspect, so it would be cool to just have the modern age. You know, if you want a gun, you got a gun. You know what I mean? It's like you drive a car. You know those kind of things. Um, oh, you're living it, huh? Oh boy. Oh boy. Um, well, you know, the game, uh, tabletop games can help with your mental stability because you can get stuff out through your characters. That is a well known fact, people. Well known fact. Most of us who are really into it um, will find, not always consciously, but subconsciously, we have created characters that um, we've needed to play. We've needed they have the emotions and the certain things that they have to get out, that we're getting out through them. My last vampire character that I played was like that, and I didn't know it when I made her. I had no clue when I made her, but going through it, and we played for about a year. I think it was about a year. Um, it wound up in the end. Looking back now, I can say, wow, yeah, I totally made her for a reason and didn't know it. Like your serial killer. Lupo is your ego? Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, I don't know what you're going to do about your sire now. I don't know. Lupo was in love with his sire, and he hasn't been able to attain her. So I'm surprised Lupo isn't way more jealous of Sky because he's got to know that Sky is really in a relationship with Pearl. It's more than sire and child. If he doesn't know that, well, then that's only player knowledge. All right, but uh, yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't know. I mean, I'm surprised he's not jealous. He probably is. Um, because he can't get his sire, and now Melanie thrown into the mix. He has become the Scanlan of the group, as he is very, I think, very proud to say. Um, I would have pegged her for an him. Ah, okay. I was wondering what that was. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee that I got on the ride home, and have not had a sip of yet. Mm. Oh boy, need that. I can't believe it's almost 1 o'clock here and I'm still online. That's because you guys are talking to me and you're giving me stuff to talk about. I would have ended probably 20 minutes ago at least. Um, ah, need more. Need more. Yes, it's Duncan's. I'm not plugging, but it's Duncan's. Speaking of not plugging, but I got my loot crate today. I joined Loot Crate a month ago because they became sponsors of Critical Role, and I like to help Critical Role, help them stay online. Besides the subscribing to Geek and Sundry, which is the channel they're on, and I got this T-shirt, which you can't see, but it's I don't watch the show. It's Rick and Morty. Everybody tonight said I need to watch it. Um, but I did like the shirt. I mean, it's got some cool stuff on it. It was pretty cool. And this pin with the Vulcan salute, the Star Trek pin there, that was in it. There was a bunch of stuff. There's some stuff that I knew, heard of, but never watched. Oh, and I got a comic, which is a number one. So I'm assuming it's new to everybody, and it is 4001 AD. Whoops, I have not read it yet. But this is it. Um, Looks pretty cool. The artwork is really nice. Let me see if I can find like a really cool. Wow. Well, the artwork's pretty cool. So yeah, so I'll read it and see. It is. Who puts this out? Like you see, you got some. It's kind of cool. Um, I was going to say variant, but that is not it. Valiant, Valiant. Um, so anyway, so yeah, I was like all excited getting my loot crate this month. I love that I get a T-shirt every month. Last month I got a RoboCop T-shirt. You guys have seen me in that. And Mike and I see I have to even look at it. Rick and Morty. I was gonna say Mike and Morty. Rick and Morty. So T-shirt every month. Awesome. For what I'm paying. Plus I got the Critical Role discount. So like I'm actually paying what a T-shirt in a store would cost you nowadays, and I get a lot more than just the T-shirt. So it's pretty cool. Loot Crate's cool. Um, so that was fun. I did that actually right before the game. I was opening that up before I left. Let's see. What else? What else to tell you? Oh, excited for the new book coming out, D&D, the Giants. Because I think it's going to be cool, and I have been watching the D&D. Um, oh my gosh, for the life of me, Force Gray. That's what they're called. Force Gray. Matt Mercer from Critical Role is the dungeon master for that. Also, if you know Chris Hardwick, at midnight on Comedy Central and lots of other things, he's Nerdist. Um, he's in it along with one of the cast members from Critical Role and several people from Nerdist. So it's been really good. They're on episode 2. It's called Force Gray. Benny, check it out. You'll like it. And it's Ashley Johnson, Pike, but it's not Pike. It's not Pike Benny. It's she's playing. She's actually playing a half orc and a fighter. You could tell because uh, with Pike, she always wants to fight, and she can't because of the nature of her cleric. Well, she can, but she's got to be careful. Uh, and for those of you that don't know, Ashley Johnson is on Blindside. So, Critical Role, they're all actors. A lot of them do voice actors. Ashley Johnson, she's now on Blindside, but her when she really started getting known was she was the voice of the kid. Oh my God, what's her name? Emma, in The Last of Us. The girl, the teenage girl, she was the voice for her. Um, do you have any new productions in the works, Miss TV Geek? I do. Thank you, sir. Uh, I have my show Out of the Garage into the Spotlight. It got put on hold for a long time. Ellie, yes, Ellie. Whoops, I hit the mic again. Ellie, thank you. From The Last of Us. Um, Out of the Garage into the Spotlight. It's a show about musicians. I focus on a lot of local musicians, singers, people that either make their living at music or trying to make their living at music, do it part time. I've had it. The ones that have aired as a part-time musician and a two DJs, part-time DJs and singers, because they do karaoke, and they went off to Nashville for the Country Music Association. Uh, it's a national competition, and they won awards. So they're really, really good. I have two more that have been filmed. One is a school teacher that's been done for a while. We actually did it last year, and then the other one we did just about a month ago. Is a local kid. I say kid. He's in his 20s. Sorry guys, I know you guys are in your 20s too. I have a habit of saying kid. But anyway, uh, he's a really good musician. I saw him at coffee coffee factory in Derry. We were actually filming the coffee terry, the open mic night, and I was running sound that night. They needed a sound person, and I said sure, because it was my co-producer that films the coffee factory. He still does, but they're on hiatus right now. They'll come back in September, I think it is. So anyway, so I have two filmed, and they're actually going to be combined into one episode, and I am in the process of edits for that. Thoughts from a TV Geek is still online, and of course here. But thoughtsfromatvgeek.com is the blog, and it's also going to be a show that will it will be on YouTube. It won't be live streamed. It'll be on YouTube, and it'll be on the local Southern New Hampshire cable channels. So definitely in Derry, and then usually it spreads out around Southern New Hampshire. Nate, I don't think it goes as far as Manchester. It might, but I know it's 13 cities for the cable when it airs on cable. That hasn't started yet. We're still in pre-production. We got, we decided what sort of logo we're going to use, and we worked on a lot of details of the set because we've totally now changed the set. We had an idea for one thing, and then that wasn't working out, and now we're using another thing, and we want it to look cool. If you watch local cable, a lot of times they don't have budgets, so it's basically drapes behind you, and you're in chairs, and you've got a table or something, and we want a set. So that's kind of what's holding us up, because if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. Because we are going to stream it, though it's not like it's just going to be shown in Southern New Hampshire. We're going to stream it. So, oh, excellent, awesome, yeah. My co-producer, who's doing a lot of the filming because of my personal situation right now, he's filming a band right now that he's getting a lot of footage, I guess, because suddenly, like, they're playing all summer. In fact, he asked me if I could help a couple of times, and I couldn't. But I felt kind of bad. It's my show, and he wanted to help me work on it because he knows my circumstances. So, of course, I made him co-producer because he's doing half the work for sure. I'm trying to see if I can get the band's name. It's a local band. He says they're great. I have never heard them, but that doesn't mean anything. And if I can find it real quick, I will tell you what it is. Here he is. Let's see. They are called White and Yellow Lights. August 6th, they're playing in Wilmington. He doesn't say the name of the venue. He just says 106 Burlington Ave in Wilmington. So August 6th, you can go see White and Yellow Lights if you have any interest. But Wilmington, Mass, by the way. So the band is called Hunter. Oh, cool. All right, well, we will chat. We will definitely chat. And anybody has any local bands, Southern New Hampshire, Northeast Mass, let me know. My Twitter, it's right up on the corner there on your screen, at Kelly E. Neal, on the top left-hand corner. Tweet me, give me info to get in touch with the band, or have the band tweet me if they're interested. Like I said, we do stream, so the bands can use that for their, on their social media. The video will be up online. Benny, you got a band? Wait. We gotta talk. We gotta chat, dude. You got a band? We could put you on. The next episode of Out of the Garage into the Spotlight should be up airing the end of August, and that's if I really get off my butt and finish it. I'm hoping for it to be 30 minutes long. I have not even 8 minutes done, so I got a ways to go. Benny's a DJ. Benny, how come I didn't know this? Or did I know this and forgot? I don't know. Anyway, Nice, Benny. Well, we'll have to chat then. We'll have to chat. We'll see. Because now I'm doing episodes. My first two episodes, I focused like one person, and the first episode was 18 minutes long, and the second episode was 14 minutes long. And now the studio, because now they've got somebody else. Well, Sean moved up, and Sean's going to be my co-producer on Thoughts from a TV Geek, the show. He moved up as far as he's now in charge of the programming, and he's trying to make it so that you don't turn on their channel and have to look at these cards advertising stuff, that you see on all public access channels. He wants show after show after show. In order to do that, you have to be 30 minutes or an hour so that he can fit you in. So I have to put like 2 acts, 3 acts, whatever in one episode to fill it out and make it a full show. So my point to that is, Benny, maybe we can squeeze you in on an episode, even if your segment is only 5 minutes long, wouldn't matter, because I'd have other musicians in the rest of it, so that would be kind of cool. Or your segment could wind up being a lot longer. Who knows? That would be fun. But yeah, check out outofthegarage.info. That's the website. You can see the first 2 episodes. I'm learning as I go. This was my very, very first attempt at a television show. And so you can kind of tell. I love the format of it. But like the first episode, about not even 5 minutes in, he does a song in the studio, and I let it play all the way through the song. And it wasn't until I was getting the stats back from YouTube that I realized that's when people were stopping. And it's one of those things where you have to take a step back as an editor and look and go, okay, I may love the song and want to sit there and listen to it, but this is you got to make this for the masses that want to, you want them to see your whole episode. So I've no longer played the whole songs through. There'll be interview pieces in between, in the middle of. You'll still hear the music underneath, but it goes back and forth a lot more than that first episode. Even the second episode, I think I was a little better at it, and I think this new one is much improved in that regard. The format is the same. It's we get some footage of them live, we interview them in the studio, and then we film them performing in the studio. So it's all 3 sections, and it seems to work really well. Again, I'm still refining it. I'm on episode 3, so you can also see the behind the scenes of episode 3. I turned 3 hours worth of work, fast forwarded it and chopped it, and sped it up. That's what I meant by fast forward. I'm sorry. I meant, speeding it up. And I also had to chop it a bit to make it 3 minutes. So you get to see 3 hours and 3 minutes. That's on there too. Outofthegarage.info. My other site is just if you're interested in need somebody to video something, 111 Productions is my production company, and it's 111productions.info, and that's not the numbers. You spell the numbers ONE, and it is 2 E's, ONEELEVEN, 111 Productions. Those are my sites. You can contact me through those sites. You can just tweet me at Kelly E. Neal. Sometimes that's the fastest way, and then we could move to email from that if we have to. If you know any musicians, absolutely let me know. And if anybody has any cool ideas for vampire, you can message me. Let me know. Hey, you should do this to your characters. You never know. I might just do it and then come on here and talk about it. You and Benny will host. All right, cool. I'm not against bringing in co-hosts. Not at all. Not at all. That would be fun, actually. That would be fun. Yeah, you get to be at. It's a real studio. I mean, it's a real television studio, and it's really nice. It's a decent size. I recently did an interview on an online show called The Previews, and they do it for Drake It local access television and Drake It Mass. And I was surprised. Their studio was tiny compared to ours, compared to Derry, New Hampshire. And then ours is tiny compared to the one I worked at in Denver, Colorado. Theirs is huge, massive. big stage. They would do live events. It was great. But yeah, this is not quite that big. I work for peanuts. That's good because that's about what I can afford. We all work for peanuts at that place. It's it's a creative, it's a creating out of love, not need for money, whether you need it or not, because you're not going to get it. So what else, guys? Anything else? It's getting so late. It's after 1 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. If you're on the West Coast, you're lucky because it's not quite so late. Um, but um, anything else? Anything else? My mind is now going blank because I can't think of anything else. Um, the games were fun. I will be back Sunday after the game. We usually end about 10. I try and be on by 11:30. Doesn't always work. Last Sunday, I do apologize if anybody was here expecting a live stream, because I think I even forgot to put the notice out of no live stream, and that's because we ran so late with the bombing for the vampire game and all the aftermath of that. We actually had two players that had to leave, and the others we all kept going because we were just so determined to get through, and we went till like 1 in the morning or something like about this time. We were ending about this time Sunday. So yeah, so I will see you guys Sunday after the vampire game. And oh, I hope you guys can make it, 'cause Nate, you won't be here. You're my main chat person. Although Benny, you're doing great tonight. I love it. The bombshell of my stuff was worse. You think so? That bombshell was worse than the bomb. I don't know. Nobody died. You gained a daughter. So we will have a lot more to say about the vampire game Sunday night, and then next Wednesday, the D&D game. We'll be chatting about that. I'm going to try and fit another show in, a third show for a week that will talk about comic books and stuff like that. It'll probably be like a non-gaming show. Comic books, television shows, all that kind of stuff. Kind of to fully flesh out thoughts from a TV geek. So I'm going to try and fit that in. I don't know when. That totally does not have a steady schedule, but I will. You can make the stream, just not the game. All right, cool. That works. Then I will see you guys on Sunday, and I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. And thank you so much for joining me. ThoughtsFromATVGeek.com. Talk to you soon. Thank you guys in the chat room. See you soon.